Hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about collision theory and potential energy diagram. So we are talking about reaction rates in a class. For a reaction, a chemical reaction to happen, the reactant molecules have to combine together. So they need to collide with each other. That's when a reaction can happen. There's a possibility of reaction happening. So look at the picture down here. These are the two reactants and they have to collide so that they can form product. So only collision is not enough. These molecules also need to be in a proper orientation, and I'll tell you in a minute what that is. And they should have enough energy to form the products. So just colliding or colliding in proper orientation is not enough, but they need to have enough energy to form those products. If all these three conditions are not met, then the reaction might not happen or might happen very slowly because only a few molecules can have enough energy or react or collide in a particular orientation. So I give an example of a matchbox, right, for collision theory. That's how you can remember. So to light a match, we have to first take out a matchstick, right? Now, these are two reactants which form the fire. Okay, so they first thing is they have to collide. So if I collide these match this way, it's not going to work. If I collide it this way, it's not going to work. So it has to be in proper orientation. What that means is the tip of the match, which is that colored tip which has a chemical, should collide with the strip on the matchbox, which also has some chemicals on there. So when you collide them together, that is in proper orientation. It will not work if it is colliding in any other surface, only on those two particular surface. So that's proper orientation. Now I'm doing this, still it's not working because I'm not giving it enough energy to react, right? So remember the collision theory, they have to collide in a proper orientation and with enough energy to cause a reaction, right? So that's when a reaction is going to happen. Okay, so that was a demo for remembering collision theory. Okay, so to see if a reaction can happen easily or it takes time, we use something called as potential energy diagrams, which shows us how much energy is required for that reaction to happen. Okay, so let's look at what these potential energy diagrams are. So there are basically two types of reactions which you'll see in these potential energy diagrams. One is endothermic reaction. So remember, endo means taking in, it's inside. So it's absorbing energy. So reactions which absorbs energy are endothermic, and reactions which release energy is exothermic reactions. Okay, so you'll see you can identify these two types of reactions. Now this is a potential energy diagram. So always look at this curve. That's your curve, potential energy diagram. So on your x-axis is the time, so reaction time, the progress of the reaction. On the y-axis is the potential energy in kilojoules per mole. So always when you start a reaction, there are reactants. So this tells us the potential energy of the reactant. So if I know the value on this y-axis, that's how much potential energy of the reactant there is. When the reactants, these are the two reactants, carbon monoxide and NO2, when they both collide and they have enough energy That is the energy required to form this transition state. It's also called as activated complex, where all the reactants are combined together. See this picture? And then if they reach this stage, there's enough energy, they can form the products. So CO2 and NO is formed. So it splits up here to form NO and CO2. Now this is the potential energy of the products. Okay, so if I have the values on y-axis, it will tell me the potential energy of the products. So this is a potential energy graph. So you have potential energy of reactant, of activated complex, and product. Now there are some things you can find out from these graphs. The first one is EA. EA stands for activation energy. Okay, so activation energy forward, or just activation energy would be just for forward reaction, is the energy required to go from the reactant to the activated complex. So this energy is activation energy. So the reverse activation energy is the reverse reaction. So going from product to the transition state. That is going to be our reverse activation energy. Okay, there is one more thing you can find is delta H. This delta sign is change. H is heat of reaction, or it's also called as enthalpy. So the difference between the potential energy of the product and the reactant, so product minus reactant, is your delta H value, or heat of reaction. That's how you can calculate. Okay. Here are some variables which you need to know. EA stands for activation energy, and when it is just EA, it is EA forward. That means it is the difference between the potential energy of activated complex minus the potential energy of the reactant. H is enthalpy, or heat of reaction. Delta H is calculated as PE of product minus potential energy of reactant. PE of reactant is potential energy reactant, potential energy product. P of activated complex is the potential energy of the hill or the top. There is also PE activated complex of catalyst, and we'll see that in one of the examples we are looking at next. EA activation energy forward, we talked about it. Activation energy of the reverse reaction is PE acted complex minus the PE of the product. So if you look at this diagram, it is showing you potential energy diagram with catalyst. So if you see the solid line here, that is the reaction graph without the catalyst. So you see the potential energy of reactant here, product here, and that's the activated complex. When you add the catalyst, it reduces the activation energy. What happens is this peak is lowered, and that's represented by the dotted line. Now take a note, the potential energy of reactant and products have not changed. Only the activated complex is lowered. Okay, this is a reaction of endothermic. That means look at the potential energy of the reactant is lower than the product. So if I do product minus reactant, my delta H is going to be positive, and when delta H is positive, it's an endothermic reaction. And also you can look at the graph. Exothermic reactions. See how this is different from endothermic. Here the reactants have a higher potential energy as compared to the products, and delta H here would be negative, and negative indicates exothermic reaction. Okay. Here are a few examples, and see if you can identify endothermic and exothermic reactions. Okay, that's all for today.